Philosophy notes conclusion. The beginning to end to the explanation, discussion, or thinking about speed and distraction and no options gets to be eventually emotional, and a person has to stop their brain, control, limit, and people usually choose to just do drugs instead. Screw the mind, screw the brain, go fast, slow down, get a rush of excitement, start over. Crash, start over, start, crash, start. And that's part of psychological cognition. Recognizing the limits for explanation and then having to pray and live peacefully. Being sad, being depressed, being violent are not worth the effort. They're a part of the control being fought against. Pushing people past their limits and forcing these folks' bodies to start trying to help the brain, their brain. When the thinking fails, the body will support. The body and the brain aren't working against each other. There's no duality. There's a process in a human system, in anatomy and a physiology, however they get described. And there's problems for some folks and people, and there's life. The problem has to do with going so fast, pushing the speed to such extremes, and forcing the brain to do so much work socially, mentally, philosophically, theoretically, financially, bureaucratically, socially, servicely, and then vote. For some people, replaces the blood flow I get from doing activities like philosophical notes, reading about mind, reading about consciousness, reading about medicine. And they're up against what I'm up against. How do I do all of that work they're doing and what I'm doing now? And they're saying very similar, and it's fair, totally fair. Well, how am I going to do the medicine? How am I going to do the engineering? How am I going to do the science? How am I going to do the math? And then find a place to go. And not only go, not only do what they used to say in the old days, flip burgers, but be successful. When push got to shove, what they used to say in the old days also, feels like thousands of years ago now, unfortunately. Used to be okay. Get started trying to get into college. Get started trying to make a business and be an entrepreneur. Try and get started and go be volunteer. Try and get started and move up to a manager. The energy was always going forward. But now, the energy has to do with thinking. Turning humans into nuclear reactors. Making them the most powerful quantum brain in the world. Except nobody says, well, what's this quantum brain for in the world Earth planet? And there's not really an answer. There's explanations, helping people and feeling better and being nice to your neighbor. Well, gosh, I guess that's too religious now. I mean, being respectful in the world, and making sure to be good. Lots of feeling and dating and marriage, they involve touching and feeling. Children, hugging, high-fiving, feeling. And now the solution to violence in the world and violence to the world, climate change, gets summarized chemically, hormonally, emotionally, with the brain, with language, and with the body, with words. And sadly, not comprehensively, with a strategy and a goal and options and choices to be made, and people who want to do the work for good, people who want to help, people who want to achieve and be successful. For the benefit of the world, the society that we know we've all made now. Not God's greatest creation, not Jesus' language in the Bible. Humans, their hands, their brains, and now the mind, and some previously with the mind, have nice stuff like iPhones and apartment buildings and electric cars to not hurt the planet, windmills, streets with lights and signs and walkways for people with wheelchairs, pacemakers, from a world working together towards the goal of civilization, towards the end of suffering and peace. Working towards and controlling and telling are totally different, totally separate. Working and having someone explain and having someone tell what needs to get done makes people more efficient, more excited, and more happy to get a reward later when they go home. Control and power and restriction, they are assaults for wearing a shirt with the words, "Make America Great." They are people out identifying visually the plain-clothed racist. They are out finding the problem, and they are solving smartly and quickly all that's wrong. Also, saying all lives matter. Aliens and UFOs. Unicorns. Teleporting and time machine thinking. And quite possibly homemade, theoretical, hypothetical time machines. All for health for everyone, income for everyone, not made with work or jobs or any energy spent, provided by the government, who has to help people. That's what they're there for. They need to give the people what they need, being described in this philosophy, ideology, thinking about the world. And the working and the togetherness just get shrunk and get shrunk and get shrunk and get dissolved in angry, nasty and dirty, brutal beatings and scowling faces and howling distractions. So the flag stops. So the country named letters and words goes away, and we all are one now on earth, together and equal with what we all need now.